The rain was relentless, mirroring the storm brewing inside me. Each drop against the windowpane of our Dublin apartment seemed to mock the picture-perfect life I thought I had with Bronagh. I'm Alaric, a software engineer, 46 years old, and until a few weeks ago I considered myself a fortunate man. I had a fulfilling career, a comfortable home, and a wife I adored. Or so I believed. It started subtly. Bronagh, a vibrant and outgoing marketing executive, began spending more time at the office. Late meetings, she'd explain, her emerald eyes avoiding mine. A big campaign launching, she'd add, a weary smile on her face. I didn't question it at first. I trusted her implicitly. We'd been together for 15 years, married for 10. Trust was the bedrock of our relationship, or so I thought. But then came the whispers, casual remarks from mutual friends, a knowing look here and there. Bronagh's been working so hard lately, one friend, Sinead, said at a dinner party, her tone laced with a strange kind of pity. She's always with Cillian, isn't she? Another friend, Eamon, chimed in, a hint of amusement in his voice. Cillian was a new hire at Bronagh's firm, a charming, ambitious young man at least 10 years younger than me. I brushed it off as office gossip, harmless speculation. But the seeds of doubt had been planted and they began to sprout, twisting and turning in my mind. Bronagh's behavior grew increasingly erratic. She became distant, irritable, and strangely secretive with her phone. She'd snap at me for the smallest things, accusing me of being controlling or insecure, labels that stung because they were so far from the truth. I wasn't controlling, I was concerned. I wasn't insecure, I was confused. One evening, Bronagh claimed she had to attend a last-minute conference in Galway. "It's crucial for my career, Alaric," she said, her voice strained. "I'll be back on Sunday." I watched her drive away, a knot of unease tightening in my stomach. Something felt wrong, terribly wrong. That night sleep eluded me. I tossed and turned, haunted by the whispers, the knowing looks, Bronagh's evasiveness. Finally, around 3 a.m., I gave up and went downstairs to the living room. I poured myself a glass of whiskey and sat by the window, watching the rain lash against the glass. My eyes fell on Bronagh's laptop, sitting on the coffee table. She'd left it open, a rare occurrence. Curiosity, or perhaps a desperate need for reassurance, overwhelmed me. I knew I shouldn't, but I couldn't resist. I walked over to the laptop and hesitantly clicked on the browser. The screen flickered to life, revealing an email inbox. Bronagh's email inbox. My heart pounded in my chest. I scrolled through the messages, my fingers trembling. Most were work-related, but then I saw it. An email from Cillian. The subject line read, "Thinking of you." I clicked on the email, my breath catching in my throat. The message was short but devastatingly clear. "Can't wait to see you in Galway, my love," it read. Counting down the hours, the world seemed to tilt on its axis. My vision blurred and a wave of nausea washed over me. I stumbled back, knocking over my glass of whiskey. The glass shattered on the floor, the sound echoing in the silent apartment, a fitting soundtrack to the shattering of my world. I read the email again and again, each time hoping I'd misread it, that it was some kind of cruel joke. But it wasn't, it was real. Bronagh was having an affair with Cillian, and she was in Galway with him right now, lying to me, betraying me. The pain was like nothing I'd ever experienced. It was a physical ache, a crushing weight on my chest. I felt like I couldn't breathe. 15 years. 15 years of love, trust, and commitment, all reduced to this. A single email. A single act of betrayal. Rage began to simmer beneath the surface of my pain. A cold, burning rage. How could she do this to me? How could she throw away everything we had for some fleeting infatuation? I wanted to scream, to break things, to lash out at someone, anyone. But instead, I forced myself to calm down. I knew I couldn't confront her in this state. I needed to think, to plan. I closed the laptop and went back to the window, the rain still falling, the storm still raging. I spent the next 2 days in a daze, going through the motions of my daily life, but feeling completely numb inside. I called in sick to work, claiming a stomach bug. I couldn't face anyone, couldn't bear the thought of having to pretend that everything was normal. On Sunday evening, I waited for Bronagh to return. I sat in the living room, the shattered glass still on the floor, a silent reminder of the devastation she had wrought. I had decided on a course of action, a plan that would ensure she never forgot what she had done. When Bronagh finally walked through the door, she looked tired but radiant. "Alaric, darling, I'm home," she said, her voice bright. She rushed over to me and kissed me on the cheek. The conference was a huge success. I stared at her, my face expressionless. "How was Galway, Bronagh?" I asked, my voice flat. Her smile faltered. "Galway, it was fine. A bit boring, actually. Just a lot of meetings and presentations. Did you see Cillian?" I asked, watching her closely. Her eyes widened, a flicker of panic in their depths. "Cillian, what are you talking about? He wasn't there, really," I said, my voice dripping with sarcasm. "Because I saw an email, Bronagh, an email from Cillian to you, saying how much he was looking forward to seeing you in Galway." Her face paled. "Alaric, I can explain," she stammered. "Explain what, Bronagh? Explain how you've been lying to me for weeks. Explain how you've been betraying me with some young upstart. Explain how you've destroyed everything we had." Tears streamed down her face. "I'm so sorry, Alaric," she sobbed. "It just happened. I didn't mean for it to go this far. It just happened," I repeated, my voice rising. "That's your excuse. It just happened. Bronagh, we're not teenagers. We're adults. We make choices, and you chose to betray me." I know," she wailed. "I was stupid. I was selfish. Please forgive me, forgive you." I said, shaking my head. "I don't think so, Bronagh. You've broken my heart, shattered my trust. I can't forgive you for that, but what about us?" she pleaded. "What about our marriage? What about our future? There is no us anymore, Bronagh," I said, my voice cold. "There is no marriage, there is no future. You destroyed it all." I stood up and walked over to the hallway closet. I opened it and pulled out a suitcase. "What are you doing?" Bronagh asked, her voice trembling. "I'm leaving," I said. "I can't stay here, not with you. I need to get away, to clear my head, to try to make sense of all this." "But where will you go?" she asked. "I don't know," I said. "Somewhere far away. Somewhere where I can forget about you, about us, about everything." I packed a few essentials into the suitcase. Clothes, toiletries, my passport. I didn't bother taking anything else. Everything else was tainted, poisoned by her betrayal. As I turned to leave, Bronagh grabbed my arm. "Please don't go, Alaric," she begged. "I'll do anything. I'll quit my job. I'll cut off all contact with Cillian. Just please don't leave me." I looked at her, her face streaked with tears, her eyes filled with desperation. For a moment I felt a flicker of pity. But then I remembered the email, the lies, the betrayal, and the pity vanished. "It's too late, Bronagh," I said, gently removing her hand from my arm. "You made your choice. Now you have to live with the consequences." I walked out the door, leaving her standing there, alone and broken. I didn't look back. I couldn't look back. I spent the next few months traveling. I went to Iceland to see the northern lights. I went to Italy to wander through the ancient ruins of Rome. I went to Spain to hike the Camino de Santiago. I needed to escape, to heal, to find myself again. During my travels, I received numerous calls and messages from Bronagh. She begged me to come back, to give her another chance. She claimed she had ended things with Cillian, that she was truly sorry for what she had done, but I ignored her. I couldn't trust her anymore. The damage was done. The trust was broken. And once trust is broken, it can never truly be repaired. After a while, the calls and messages stopped. Bronagh finally seemed to have accepted that it was over. I eventually returned to Dublin, but I didn't go back to our apartment. I bought a small cottage in the countryside, far away from the city, far away from Bronagh. I started painting again, something I had abandoned years ago due to lack of time. I found solace in the solitude, in the beauty of the natural world. I began to heal, slowly but surely. One day I received a letter. It was from Bronagh. I hesitated before opening it, unsure if I was ready to face her words, but curiosity got the better of me. I opened the letter and began to read. Bronagh wrote about her regret, her remorse, her pain. She admitted that she had made a terrible mistake, that she had thrown away the best thing that had ever happened to her. She said that she understood why I couldn't forgive her, that she deserved everything that had happened to her. She also wrote about Cillian. She said that he had turned out to be a user, a manipulator, that he had only been interested in her for her connections and her money. She said that he had dumped her as soon as I left, leaving her alone and heartbroken. As I read her words, I felt a strange sense of satisfaction. Not joy, not happiness, but a quiet sense of justice. She had reaped what she had sown. She had betrayed me, and she had paid the price. At the end of the letter, Bronagh wrote that she was leaving Dublin, that she was moving to America to start a new life. She said that she didn't expect me to forgive her, but she hoped that one day I would be able to move on and find happiness again. I finished reading the letter and sat in silence for a long time. I thought about Bronagh, about our life together, about the betrayal. I realized that I had already moved on. I had already found happiness again. Not the same kind of happiness, not the naive, unquestioning happiness of the past, but a deeper, more resilient happiness, born from pain and loss. I folded the letter and put it away. I knew that I would never forget Bronagh, but I also knew that I would never forgive her. Her betrayal had changed me, had hardened me, had made me stronger. I went outside and walked into my garden. The sun was shining, the birds were singing, and the flowers were in full bloom. I took a deep breath of the fresh air and smiled. I was free. I was finally free. Years passed. I continued to live in my cottage, painting and gardening. I met new people, made new friends. I even started dating again, cautiously, tentatively. I learned to trust again, but never completely, never blindly. One day, I received an email from an unknown address. I opened it and saw that it was from Cillian. He wrote that he was living in London, working as a waiter. He said that his life had fallen apart after his affair with Bronagh. He had lost his job, his reputation, his friends. He was now alone and miserable. He wrote that he wanted to apologize for what he had done, for the pain he had caused me. He said that he knew it was too late, that he didn't deserve my forgiveness, but he wanted me to know that he was truly sorry. I read his email with a sense of detachment. I didn't feel anger or resentment or even satisfaction. I just felt a profound sense of indifference. I deleted the email and went back to my painting. Cillian was no longer relevant to my life. He was a ghost from the past, a reminder of a painful chapter that I had closed long ago. I had survived Bronagh's betrayal. I had rebuilt my life. I had found happiness again. And that was all that mattered. As I stood there, brush in hand, gazing at the canvas before me, I realized that I had not only survived, but I had thrived. I had emerged from the ashes of betrayal stronger, wiser, and more resilient than ever before. The rain had stopped, the storm had passed, and the sun was shining brightly on my new life. And sometimes that's all the revenge you need.